Jess, we're under contract.
Cause all that I want is for you to be happy. Give me a chance to show that you can be. Well, open your eyes and see the way I see. Cause all that I want is for you to be happy with me.
Now that we are under contract officially,
Cheers.
We wanted to take a minute to talk about all of the things that go into getting from the survey to actually closing on a boat.
Yeah, a lot of you have had questions for us, so we figured we could just do it this way and share it with y'all, and then maybe the questions will be easier to answer.
Yep. So the things we're going to talk about are the results of the survey and the negotiations on coming up with a final price, financing the boat, documenting the boat,
Insurance,
thank you, and lining up the repairs that we want to make once we actually take ownership of the boat.
Last time we had just finished our boat survey and we were waiting on the results. We finally got them and looked them over for a couple of days. They were super thorough. I think there was over 100 pictures and it was like a 37-page document. So we had a lot of information to digest there. We will put the whole entire survey and some of the photos on our blog post at folsomoceanviews.com.
Once we had the results of the survey, we came up with a number that we were comfortable with. And the one thing that I will say about purchasing a boat or any large purchase is make sure that the number you put out is a number that you are comfortable with, not a number that will get the deal done. Every single person in the transaction has a vested interest one way or the other, and only you know what is in your best interest. And so what we ultimately decided to do was take all the results of the survey, we added up what we thought it would cost to fix everything, which was $15,000.
Not everything, sorry to interrupt, but all the things that we thought were misrepresented in the listing. So things that we thought the listing said were included on the boat, but were either broken or not there at all. We added up the cost of those things.
Yep, and so that was $15,000. And even though both brokers said that there was no way the seller was going to take that, you don't get what you don't ask for. And at the end of the day, that $15,000 was what made us comfortable purchasing the boat. And we felt like the sellers would be hard pressed to turn it down. And ultimately they didn't. So that worked out really well. Our initial offer price was $435,000, and we are under contract at $420,000.
Much better.
So once we came up with a final number, the next question for us anyway was how are we going to pay for the boat? There's a lot of people out there that are lucky enough to be able to pay for cash. That was one option for us, sorry for the bugs, but ultimately that made us move some money around that we didn't want to do. The next option was to get a small loan to cover the difference between what we had available and the cost of the boat. And the last option was an interest-only loan that leveraged all of our accounts. And ultimately what we decided to do was go the middle route. We think that that gives us the most flexibility and security. So we'll end up with a small loan on the boat that we want to pay off in no more than 3 years, hopefully faster. But ultimately, we'd like to own the boat outright. We just didn't want to have to move money around to do it.
Yeah, in this COVID world, moving money around is crazy, and it's just not the right time for us to be doing any of that. So we went with
the one that we felt comfortable with.
Yep.
And ultimately, that's what it boils down to. Everyone's situation is going to be different. That was what worked out best. So what that means for us is on that $420,000 purchase price, we're going to finance $150,000 of that on a 20-year term. Again, we're trying to pay it off as quickly as we can. And the rest of it will be coming from proceeds from the house. And that is what let us feel comfortable and secure with moving forward.
We've closed on a few houses in our lives, and there are a ton of closing fees that go in with selling a house, not so much with a boat. Closing on the boat is only going to cost $260, which is amazing. But there are a few extra fees that don't come along with buying a house, like a documenter. So the documenter is going to get all of the paperwork for the boat gathered, all the paperwork from the old owners, everything you might need to know to be a legal sailor in any waters that we might be going in. So you hire a documenter to get all that ready for you so that if you ever get stopped or have any questions about your boat, you just have all of your documents in one nice little place. So we decided to hire that person. The cost for that was $650. And a part of using the documenter was that we had to provide them with just a couple of pieces of information, which I would have thought would have been really easy, but there were a couple of tricky questions in there, like, where is our port of call? Well, we don't have a place that we live right now, and we can't really say Atlanta because a boat like that would never be in Atlanta, and we were worried about putting other cities because what sort of tax implications would that have, and such and such and such. So we really decided just to rely on some of the really great resources and people that we have met through this process. And after a call with the documenter, we decided that we would register our boat in Virginia, specifically Norfolk. Did I say it right?
No, you never say it right.
Norfolk. Did I get it?
Close enough. We'll go with that.
Would you like to say it?
Norfolk.
Virginia. What other information did she need?
That was pretty much it.
Cool. Oh, and the name. But we'll get into that a little later. And the final thing that they're going to help us with is registering our vessel with the Coast Guard, which is super helpful if you are sailing in the United States or even if you're sailing out of it. So,
Especially if you're sailing out of it.
Why, Charles?
A Coast Guard documentation is like a passport for your boat, and a state registration is like a driver's license. So some countries won't recognize the state registration, but they have to recognize the Coast Guard registration.
So it's been fairly painless.
Yep. The final thing from a paperwork standpoint that we had to line up was the insurance, and luckily for us, my best friend growing up is actually a marine yacht insurance broker. His company doesn't do catamarans, but he did set me up with one of his trusted colleagues that does. And insurance for boats right now is really difficult with all the hurricane issues, and because of our lack of ownership experience, the insurance broker actually put our bid out to 8 different companies, and only one of them said that they would insure us, and even on that there were some stipulations. The first of which is we have to have a certified captain sign off that we are actually competent and know what we're doing. And then the other one is that they had to have a 12-month itinerary for us, so they knew in general where the boat was. And the biggest restriction is that the boat needs to be north of Cape Hatteras in North Carolina between July 1st and November 1st. And it's already the middle of July sometime. And the boat's in Florida, so step one is to move the boat.
Yeah. And it's a 1-year policy. After we've owned the boat for a year, we can look into a different provider or just different restrictions with this provider. Oh, and then cost.
Oh, so cost is roughly $6,800 for the year, and that includes 2% hull deductible, it includes a dinghy, it includes personal liability, and that is about 1.5% of the cost of the hull. The general thing that we had always heard was expect between 1% and 3%. So I was pretty pleased.
Yeah, we might not know anything about being boat owners, but at least we're happy in our naivete. Total cost roundup before we even get on the boat is, well, obviously the $420,000 for the boat. Then we have $260 in closing costs, $400 for the haul out, $1,200 for the survey, which included the oil sample testing, $650 for the documenter, and $350 for the captain for the day to do our checkoff for the insurance company. So that is $2,800 for the captain, the documenter, the survey, the haul out, and the closing, plus another $6,800 for the insurance. So before we even buy the boat, without including anything for the boat, we spent $10,000. Yikes. Okay, so what's next? The fun part. We are going to go get our boat from Florida. Right now, we're in Atlanta, Georgia, so we need to drive down to Florida with all of our possessions and our dogs, and we're gonna stay in an Airbnb in Florida while we are getting maintenance done on the boat. Then we will get all of our maintenance taken care of, hop on the boat with our captain, and sail the vessel up to Charleston, where we'll stay for about a month. And then who knows? Can't plan that far in the future anymore.
That's right. That's the whole point.
Yeah. So, but while we're in Charleston, we're going to get the rest of the maintenance taken care of. That's it. That's the plan.
I love it. I'm so excited.
This has been such a journey in the making so far. The anticipation is, I think, killing us. Definitely not excited about the sad part of leaving our friends and our family, but we are excited to see our boat. Well, speaking of, last night here with my parents, so we are going to go inside, have some drinks. Mom's making dinner. We're just gonna have some fun, play some games, have a good night. Let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Mm.